Uh, so she was a very early adopter, the first to create a certified, secure, and safe online shopping mall. That sounds so exciting. Um, a front runner who created the Ontario College curriculum that trained many of today's top marketers and advertisers. And she has advocated for safe internet use and worked to advance Canada's digital landscape. Um, she is located in central Ontario. And yeah, when companies were incurring costs from their internet strategies, Sue was spurring businesses forward with profitable digital marketing systems, online stores, and community building over the internet. So she has lots to share with us today. So you will have access to the recording of this session, but take good notes and ask good questions.
Oh,
Over to you, Sue.
wonderful. Yes, all the questions that you'd like to ask are wonderful. I'm just going to share a screen just so I can stay on point here. Everybody should be able to see that now. Can I just get a nod?
Yes.
Are we good with that? Okay, that's wonderful. So thanks for the lovely introduction. I really have been lucky to have such an amazing opportunity to get on to the internet early, and actually registered my first domain name in 1994, long time ago.
Wow.
So I've learned a lot over the years, and I'm happy to share with you. And I commend you for stepping up and joining up for this webinar, because honestly, there is I really feel like every business should be leveraging event marketing, but they're not. And there's a whole bunch of reasons why they don't. And I think a lot of it is they don't necessarily know, and they're not in their comfort zone. So my goal today is to show you how to get good results from an event, a virtual event. It's a low cost, no cost really, in a lot of cases, opportunity for you to get in front of a whole bunch of people. And so I'm going to share what I know, and then what I'm going to do is open up the questions for questions at the end. Um, and here's what we're going to cover today. So you're going to have clear, actionable goals that align with your objectives. I'm going to challenge you to actually participate today. Get your pen and paper out, and I'm going to give you opportunities to kind of write down some notes to get you started. And how you can engage your stakeholders before, during, and after an event. And again, I suggest that you think about your business purposes when you're doing this and write down some notes. Optimizing content to keep attendees hooked and increase conversations. Really, it's all about engagement. And you can have a boring webinar, and it'll be boring, and nobody will recommend it. Or you can really make it engaging, and that's really what it's about. That's how you get ROI, is by engaging people. And it's not it's kind of like riding a bike, right? You ride a bike, and the first time you might fall down, and the next time you might ride it and you don't fall down, and you think, oh, that's really great. And sometimes people stop there, but really maybe you would be a better biker if you measured how far you went every day. So measuring the results and tracking the return on investment, ROI, using the data insights that you have. And really, that's a beautiful thing about online events versus in person, is we have so much we can track, and fine tune it, taking a Kaizen approach. Now, Kaizen is a terminology developed by, I think it was Toyota, and it's a quality initiative to always be looking at how you can make things better, faster, and cheaper. So you need to do that with events as well. People that do these amazing events, they didn't start where they are now. They kind of improved it as they went. So that's what we're going to cover today, and let's just jump in. I won't bother going into my introductions, because you did a lovely introduction for me, and I appreciate that. I would like to, though, start with clear, actionable goals. And really, why would your business want to do an event? Like, why? What do you want to get out of it? Because really, if we begin with the end in mind, it's a lot easier to talk about that. So, what we need to do is come up with specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely goals. They call SMART goals. You've probably heard this in all the business training you've done. And it's no different with events. I mean, if you're spending time, it might be free. It might be a free way for you to market yourself, but really, what do you want to get out of it? Because if we want to be able to measure that. So what do you want to get out of it? Are you looking to gain more customers? Are you looking to inform people, help them make better decisions? Are you looking to build relationships with people and keep, and improve retention? There's all sorts of different reasons. So first of all, I have the story that about the fact that people wear different hats all the time, and I'm going to tell you that story because I think it's really relevant now. When I was a little girl on the schooling ground, you might have heard me swearing. I thought it was really cool to swear, and so did my friends, and we'd get a giggle, and that was it. And that was one hat. I was a kid in the schoolyard. And then I was a kid in my backyard, and my mom was in the kitchen, and me and my girlfriend were in the backyard. And you might have heard me swear, but it would have been really quiet because my mom might have been able to hear. And I didn't want my mom to hear me swear. I knew I would catch heck. And then I'm at my grandmother's, and you would never hear me swear because that woman had ears on the back of her head, and I would have got cuffed across the side of the back of the head. So it just goes to show how with different hats on we can speak differently, and we speak, and so we really need to decide exactly who are we speaking to at these webinars, because communication is all about connecting with people. So who do you want to reach? And the more we know about them, i.e. your grandma's going to go, the more we know about them, the better we can tailor our conversation to them and cater the experience. I mean, if you think about hosting a virtual event, it's no different than hosting a dinner party at your house. You want people to have a great time. And so you really need to know who they are to figure out what they are. Who are you targeting? What are their needs? What do they perceive their problem to be? Not what you think their problem is, not what you sell, but what do they perceive their problem to be? And when and where, when, and how do they look for solutions? Because we're in the online world. So where are they hanging out? That's really important, because you could do a great event on LinkedIn, but if they're not on LinkedIn, you're not going to reach them, right? It's going to be new for them to go there. It's going to be uncomfortable for them to go there. So with that said, you might be wanting to open up the LinkedIn market. So maybe that's what you're moving towards. So, and why should they choose you? I mean, I say that just that you need to be really clear about what you're selling. You need to be able to say succinctly what it is that you can do. And there's lots of different ways of doing it. Lots of different hats you could be wearing. Again, it comes down to who you're talking to. How are you going to describe it? So that's the most important thing, is remembering the who. And when I look at marketing mistakes over the years, I mean, I've seen them all. I've seen a lot of them. I've made most of them. It's easy to look at the world through our lens. And really, I think I was 21 before I realized men were different than women. I was looking at the world through my eyes, and that wasn't, it was clear that there was two different viewpoints there. Well, there's a lot more viewpoints than that. I've come a long way, I understand. And it's really hard to get out of your own thought process and actually put your shoes, like wear their shoes, and understand who they are. And if you struggle with that, if you've ever made that mistake, I know I have. It's good to do. I have this little persona sheet that I bring out, and I read it before I do any marketing. And it's a checkbox. I look at that before I bless any marketing work that I'm approving, any artwork. So who, and besides who you're targeting, who's going to be on your side? Who do you have on your team? Virtual events, online events have the power of a network. Like, you have your people. Who are they? Take stock of them on your sheet right now. Who do you help out? Do you share anybody's content? Because they might want to share your content if they know about it. Who's on your team? Who's on your virtual team? Who do you have access to? Okay. And you want to take stock of that. This is not social media is not a solo sport. It's a social media. So it's all about your network. So who do you have, and who could help you, and who, if you want somebody to help you, what's the best way to get help? Help them. And ask, right? A lot of people, I had a lot of problems asking for help. And you know what? When somebody asks me for help, I think, oh, I'm honored that they would ask me for help. And of course, my first instinct is I love helping people. Now, most people do, but most people have trouble asking. So make the ask, fight your fears and make the ask. All they can say is no, right? Okay. Who else can you partner with? Well, the beautiful thing about online events is there are so many partnership opportunities. And these are some examples of partnership models, promotional partners, cross promotion partners, strategic alliance, joint ventures. You can see these alliances that are here, these partnership opportunities. And on online events is no different. If you're running an online event, depending on the platform and the structure, you can have other speakers on stage with you. You can have exhibitors. You can do it as a conference. So you can have an event sponsor. You can have people that want to that support you and maybe advertise and be there as a sign when people come onto your events. There are all sorts of different opportunities to bring in sponsorship. And I'll tell you the hardest thing right now with event event sponsorship is, the pandemic came out and our in-person sponsors came on board and they got zero value. Most of them got zero value. So it's really important for you to understand that, because when you're asked them to do an online event, they're hurting. They're thinking about the money they spent on online events and did not get value. And you're going to need to convince them that you've built in value for them to be a partner in this event. And I'll show you some ways you can do that. And that this is an opportunity that you're going to be able to actually show them the results. You're going to be able to track it. And this is a different opportunity. And this is an opportunity for them. And that's a bias that you're going to have to fight. And it's so easy to do. So I'm going to show you that too. Okay. So title sponsors, event sponsors, speaker sponsors, like a lot of times speakers are paying to be on events, right? They want the exposure. Exhibitors like booths, ticket holders, affiliates, they're partners as well. There's lots of opportunities for you to partner with people. And again, whenever you're dealing with people, what is their why? What do they want to get out of it? How does your event solve their problems and get them what they want? Well, ideally, when you're doing an online event, you're going to attract a whole bunch of people to that space. So your partners are probably going to want to get in front of those people too. So who else is marketing into the spaces you're marketing into? This is really something you've got to understand. And really, you could maybe get somebody to sign on as a partner, but if they're not going after this demographic, it's not going to work. You don't be tempted by the money. Be tempted by the right opportunities, because there's an old expression, and really, I'm not clear on whether it's an old African proverb or it's been accredited to a bunch of people. It's not really clear, but I think it's a really good proverb, and it says, if you want to go fast, go alone, and if you want to go far, go together. But you want to make sure the right people are on the bus, right? They got to be the right people, because if it's a win, 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 then you got 5 people pushing that bus, and it'll be a lot easier on you. Okay. And then how can you do it better than the other options? Because they have lots of different other options, right? How can what's the secret sauce you're going to put in there? How can you make it different? How can you differentiate yourself? Okay. And where do they socialize? Where are they online? I think we spoke about this. Opening new markets is a little bit harder than existing markets, but it's doable. And really, at the end of the day, if you know who you're going after and all your partners are going after them, you really need to figure out where they are and go where they are. It's a lot easier to do that. And there's so many different options nowadays. So when's the best time to connect? Now, this is really important, and I can't say this enough. All the stats on all the social media spaces tell you where your audience is commenting. You can tell with the analytics when they're coming, the best days to engage with them. And as far as the circumstances go, that's really important too, because marketing is all about relevance. You see, I could need a car really bad, and you could be selling the car that I need. But if you happen to try to sell me when I was having playing with my grandbaby, guess what? I'm not even taking the call. It's not relevant to me right now. Um, and so it's what a good example of that is Joan Rivers was one of my favorite comedians. Um, and she endorsed an iPhone 7 days after she passed. Now that's a horrible way to remember your favorite comedian. But the fact of it is she endorsed it before it was out. And so a lot of people, they'll either put it on autopilot, they design all this content. And yes, you should do that. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but you need to monitor it. You need to be watching it because at the end of the day, it's got to be relevant. It's got to hit. What happened to everybody that automated things when it was 9/11, right? Or something momentous happened in the world. Maybe it was, something that happened, like there was a bombing or whatever it was. You need to keep your eye on this stuff, and you need to understand what the climate is, right? Where are people psychologically now? Are they worried about the economy? Where it's more than just a persona. Where are they today? What's relevant to them today? Because it's really all about when your message hits today, right? Okay. And what do they want? So, what do they enjoy? What do they know they need, in their words? And what contact format do they prefer? Because ideally, if you can hit them again with their preferences, that's wonderful. And really, how you hit them, you've identified who they are. You make great content that they're going to want to consume and come back for, right? Um, and you're going to figure out where they are online, and you're going to connect and share social media on those channels to support these events that you're running. Okay. Now, measuring and tracking ROI with key performance indicators, KPIs. KPIs that matter to who? To the people that you're partnering with, to the people you're trying to attract, not just to come to one event, but multiple events. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see in event marketing today. People are putting it all into one event. I'm going to do this event. You should never run an event without selling into another event. Okay. It really is a lost opportunity. So, I think these are some key things for you to understand. And every business is different. Every purpose for an event is, different. My desk just fell apart there. um, but it's important to it's going to be different for all of you depending on the purpose of your event, but here are some reasons, ways that you could track successes depending on the purposes of it. If you're trying to sell products and services, you want them to opt in, like what do you want them to do? How will you track success? You have to put things in place to be able to track them, and there's no different with events. If you want to get them to download brochures, LinkedIn Live is really powerful for events now. It's a great way if you're going after people on LinkedIn. But how do you tell how many people are actually live on the show? The stats even will update all the time, but you can tell if they're going to download a document or a brochure, or when they enter the contest, so you really need to put things in place to basically track the results you want to get, not just for you, but for your partners as well. So, awareness. You might be running to events to raise awareness about your product or service. And some ideas are trade shows, webinars, product launches, or panel discussions. These are all ways that you can raise awareness of you and your brand. So how can you track that? Well, the sponsorship, lifetime value, right? How can you track that? Email marketing click-through rate. How many times did they click through? All the email marketing skills will tell you this. All those tools will show you what the click-through rate is. And this is a KPI that's really powerful because if you can show how many people click through, you can also prove to your sponsors how many times you showed their logo. Like all this stuff is really cool. And the best part about it is when you look, if you capture all these KPIs, you can get AI to crunch the figures to show exactly how much exposure that you brought to a sponsor in a heartbeat. So all you have to do is set up the tools to do it. How many impressions did it get? And what was the engagement like? You just need to make sure this is all set up. So this is a great, events are a great way to raise awareness. And it's also a great tool to bring them into a decision. So, people think about virtual events as things that you invite a whole bunch of people to, but they could be one-to-one meetings too. And sales presentations, product demos, product launches. I mean, it's unlimited what you can do, but these are some popular ways, events that you would run, where the purpose is to get them to make a decision. And so what's the acceptance rate of the meeting? This is a KPI you can manage. How many deals did you close? That's an obvious one, right? The pipeline speed, how long is it taking them to get through the funnel? And that depends on how you've got it all set up. The intent, the conversion, and the customer actions. Like, what did they do afterwards? If you study people like Grant Cardone, for example, he does a great job of talking about funnels and stuff. And he's got an interesting approach because he knows that it's all about relevance and timing. And how do we really know what somebody's day is going to be like? You might click on the ad and be very interested, but then life happens and somebody's knocked at the door and you've gone. And he knows that even though you signed up for an event, you're not going to go there. So some of the things that they do after it, by using this Kaizen approach, is he'll say he has emails set up and ready to go, like pathways set up, so that when you're trying to make somebody make a decision, you for an event, they show up, you're going to send right away while they're pumped up an email that says, "Hey, thank you for coming today. And I'm so excited. Congratulations, deep, 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 deep." And that can be written long in advance before this thing starts. And then it can be, "Ooh, we missed you. I hope everything's okay. Just so you know, here's a replay." Or, "Would you like to reschedule another one? There's an action item." Or maybe they attended and they didn't go ahead. And then you're going to say, "Hey, thank you for coming. Noticed you didn't go ahead. Would love to know what your objection is, like what your problem was, so that you can find, like, obviously that's not the way to write it, but you're then finding out what they need. You're going to give them something else that's going to bring them farther along to making that buying decision. So with all the technology, we can do all that and we can measure it all. That's the beautiful thing about these funnel solutions, is they measure all the different hops, so you can figure out what's working and what's not. Maybe they're at the considering stage, and you want to do workshops to talk to them about, events, for example. This one's all about people that are considering doing online events, right? So, it might be a panel discussion. I did one recently where I talked to three other people and we talked about how to get the ROI from an event. It was really interesting. I had my presentation done. I thought it was pretty awesome. And all four of us brought different things to the table. So panel discussions are a really interesting way to bring out good content. And it's a lot more interesting to listen to four people versus one person. So that's another thing. User groups, product launches, sales presentations. There's all sorts of different ways that you can, strategies you can use, event strategies. And then the KPIs on the right-hand side, you can see they're all engagement based. Like, these are people, like, how much engagement, like, if you're using a tool that has networking, can you measure that? Did you do a poll, and how many people took place in the poll? um, you know all these stats here are just examples, but these are all KPIs that you can measure, and they can prove value to your partners. Okay, because the first event, typically the first time you got on the bike, you fell down. The first event you ran, it's it that you're going to learn things. And but the second event, you're going to really get traction. And some people hit the ground running. I'm not trying to discourage you, but the fact of it is that there's learning opportunities, and we, as much as we think we know that somebody thinks differently than us, it's really hard to think like them to plan it. And there's all sorts of different people that think different. So And then retention. Maybe you want to do events to help with retention, to build relationships, to encourage referrals. And here on the right hand side are some ways that you can measure it, right? You know, I think that a lot of people focus on getting new customers. And I know the biggest mistake I've ever made in business is having being a one dog show, one pony show, I guess is the expression, one pony show. You know, once you've sold somebody on doing business with you, it's really easy to sell them something else. It does not make sense to sell one thing. And I made that mistake in business. 8 years, my first 8 years in business, onboarding a new customer is expensive. And so you should always have multiple things that you can help people with. It just makes sense. And another really good argument for dealing with partners, because a lot of people are positioned that way where they only have one product. And if you can bring on a partner that has something else that they can offer, then you can then continue to serve them and keep them in your circle. Okay. Um, big business lesson for me, and I hope it's not for you. I hope you don't make the same mistake I did. I wasted a lot of time. You know, you'd spend a lot of money getting a customer on, you'd serve them really well, maybe they'd send you a couple of referrals, write a testimonial, and then you had nothing else to sell them, so they just sat there. And then, you know, in the meantime, if my partner could have basically jumped on and helped with something, that would have been amazing. So, and then they pass them back to me when there's more stuff I can do. So, anyways, so now I want to talk about engaging your stakeholders before and after the event. Now, there's lots of different ways you can do it. These are just a few, and just so you know, there is an offer. And if you connect with me on LinkedIn after the event, and I'll give you the link, the URL. I will give you, I think it's 123 ways you can engage people before, after, and during an event. But here are some of the ones that I think are the most important things that I wanted to cover. I really had to prioritize them. So, inviting people. I know this is silly, but it's the thing that everybody seems to do wrong. They want to get everything perfect. And so they want to get everything built out and all that before they start inviting people. As soon as you have a date, as soon as you've decided you're going to do an event, send out a save the date. Invite people. Get them to save the date. It's the biggest problem. The biggest problem with events is that is ticket sales, right? You know, you can offer huge value, but it's basically getting people to show up. So get them to save the date. And you know, having a good registration, webinar registration form, a webinar confirmation form, a webinar reminder. These are things that most of the funnel programs will do. You can do yourself, but just understand they serve a purpose. And all this content about how to write this material is all out there, and ChatGPT can help you with it. You know, act as an experienced webinar host and help me write this webinar registration form. Act as a webinar host and help me write this confirmation. And the other way that I love, and I absolutely love it. Now, it's not free, but food. The best way to get people to show up for an event is food. Because if you run an event and I know you've ordered food for me, and I can order, just so you know, if I run an event, I can have pizza delivered everywhere in the world, right? Within an hour. So it's doable. There's organizations that take care of this. You know what? I'm going to show up no matter what. I wouldn't want a stiffy for a coffee, even if it was a coffee, right? So food is the number one way to get people to show up. Not is it cheap? No. I think you can send a coffee. I think it's like $5. You can send a coffee to people. They're like for your important stuff, if you're doing a launch and stuff like that with your VIPs. For example, let's say you have a client list of, you know, a dozen people, for example, that if they've been with you for a while, and I know you probably have a lot more clients than that, but really, if you look at the top 20% of your client base, they're the ones that they're the ones that probably represent 80% of your revenue. It's called the Pareto rule. So, what I like to do is I take those top 20% of my clients and I do a luncheon meeting every month, every year with them. And I say to them, you know what? I'm going to buy you lunch. I want to pick your brain. Here's my business plan for next year. What do you think? I'll buy you lunch. Do you have time? Can you give me some time? And you know what? It's amazing the benefit that you get from that. Okay. And it doesn't cost that much. I mean, you can send everybody like a $25 gift certificate and they can order in from wherever they want. It's so easy to do. And it's a great way to basically get some advice from people that know, basically the good, the bad, and the ugly about you right there. So the other thing is you see selfie sticks, and I actually don't have my selfie sticks, but a lot of people, you can send somebody in the mail. I mean, I love getting mail. I don't know about you guys. I love getting good mail. And you can send a selfie stick, which is, let me just get something here for you. I'll show you what a selfie stick is. So you can have a selfie stick like that, or you could just have some fun stuff. Happy birthday. You could have, hey, isn't that good? Now these fit in an envelope, a number 10 envelope. It's really cheap. And, like if you look at promotion, there's nothing cheaper than a business card, right, to print. But wouldn't it be fun to have something like, I mean, this is coated in plastic, but really you could do probably, I'm going to say 8 of these on 8.5 by 11. And then you could get them printed and you could laminate them pretty cheap. You don't even really have to laminate them. I have a few here that aren't laminated. I have this one just came in the mail. Now this is just a piece of paper, and there's a straw on the back of it. And I say to and it gives them something to engage them before an event. I know you think I'm silly, don't you? I could see the look you're giving me. Or you could just be a happy girl. Now I put the straws on the back. They just say to print them on cardstock. But I got sweaty hands, so. But anyways, these are really like anything you can do to get something in their hands traditionally for an event and get them engaged. Because once I have a selfie stick, am I using it? You bet I'm using it. And I usually have it at my desk. I actually moved around my desk, which is why I didn't have it handy because I like to do it just to add fun to an event. And there's those buttons you can press, but it's way funner just doing this. So these are ways that are great. These are great ways to engage people before, but it really is endless what you can do. Communication is really key. Talk to them if you want to see who does it. You don't have to create the wheel yourself. Grant Cardone has an amazing onboarding system. Sign up for something he's got for free. Now he will sell you. Use an email that you don't care about. Use your junk email, but you'll
Sue,
see how email marketing can be so phenomenal for events. He is amazing. Okay.
Sue, can I
um
get his name so I can put it in the chat?
Sure, it's Grant Cardone. So Grant, and the
Yep.
last name is Cardone, Cardone.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like the king of webinars and stuff like that. He's quite the salesperson. So, and certainly a really great example that you can model yourself against. And I think right now he's got this really cool, if you're thinking about, if you haven't started your, webinar funnel and all that stuff, I think he's got a product out right now for $69 or something like that, where he gives you the whole thing. So, now, after an event is really important. And a lot of people, like, it's really discouraging for trainers who do events that most people don't take action after an event. You teach a really good skill, and then a lot of people just don't ever action it. So I'm going to challenge you to actually take action and make the piece of paper that you've got there. Give yourself a date when you're going to actually do this work, when you're going to put this together. There's putting together a webinar is really easy to do. The first one won't be awesome, but it'll still bring value to people. And if you invite even your top 10 that love you already, anyways, it'll be really easy to improve because you're going to ask them for the good, the bad, and the ugly. Um, so after the event, once you've done it, you should be ready with the, hey, thanks for coming and congratulations on your decision to go ahead with whatever. Or thanks for coming, noticed you didn't sign up, wondering if maybe you might want to read this that will help you with whatever. You want to have all that communication ready. There's no reason why not to have it ready. You know what's going to happen. They're either going to sign up, they're going to either attend or they're not. If they attend, they're either going to buy or they're not. If they don't attend, you might want to send them the replay, or you might want to get them to sign up for the next time you're going to have it. Um, and it should be personalized. Like when Grant writes, he goes, Grant here, Sue, I noticed you didn't, he's talking to me. Like it's not we, it's me talking to you, even though it's not. You got to talk to me. Okay. It's really important. And a lot of the email programs that you use, you can measure all this stuff. You can measure this. You can create strategies to get them to post their experience on social for a chance to win a prize. You can encourage them. Gamifying is really hot. There's lots of examples here on here. You know, sign up for a newsletter. You're not ready to buy right now, that's great. Sign up for our newsletter. It'll give you the top 10 tips. You want to give them, if you think about it, a lot of people, when they go to sell something, they phone somebody and they say, hey, I got this. Would you like to buy it? And they get told no. And I know when I was started my business, it was really discouraging. The biggest problem with sales is people don't follow up. And so but how many times does somebody try to pitch you the first time and you buy? I mean, I don't. I mean, I actually have a rule where I don't even make a decision the same day. I always wait till the next day. So nobody's ever going to close me on that day. So knowing that people are different in that, there's different points that you can come up with. So, you don't want to just sell them this package. So, you mean you're going in order to sell somebody, you go from being visible to credible to profitable. That's really the journey of a customer, right? You become visible, they can see you, they know you exist. Credible, they know that you've got the credentials. And then profitable means that they're either buying your product or they'll refer you or write a testimonial, like they'll be a fan. So, have a plan for that. Maybe you say, okay, you should buy this product. Or if you're not ready for that, by all means, join up for this newsletter, because then you'll get this drip, which will help you prepare to get ready. Um, and give them different options, because you don't want to just give them one option, because everybody's different and they may not want to make that buying decision. So, and that depend. I mean, I guess I'm talking about presentation where you're trying to get them to make a decision. So there's all sorts of different scenarios. And if you have a particular challenge about this, you're welcome to call. I do offer a complimentary consultation. It's 50 minutes long. You bring me a problem and I will try to give you some ideas. So yeah, because it's be lovely to customize to each and every one of you, but because it really depends on the type of event you're doing. Now, during an event is a gold rush, and there's so many people that are doing the same old boring thing. Um, and really, you could do that, but you're not going to get people coming back all the time. They're gonna, like, nobody likes to sit, you know. So you're going to want to do things like get people chatting, get them to take selfies, so that they can post them on social media. Tell them there's going to be a prize, somebody's going to win whatever. Donations, pledges, all these things are things you can ask for. Anything you can do to make it fun. Getting people to engage with each other is really important. And you see all the big speakers now, they're actually measuring this, and they're doing what they call gamification, so that if you comment in the post, they're going to be this. If you join the Facebook group, you get this. That can get really expensive to get into programs like that, but think about how you can. And let's talk about optimizing your content to keep attendees hooked and increase conversion. I'm going to just go through this part, because honestly, this applies to everybody, and it's all about the experience. That whoever it is that is in your webinar, is a VIP. And you should roll out the red carpet, right? You might want to think about closed captioning for those that have visibility problems, like problems with their eyes or their ears. Because, I've been working with somebody for 25 years, just realized they had a hearing impairment. You don't know what you don't know. And people don't like to talk about their problems. So think about those things when you're running an event. Offering multilingual options, the real-time translation. Depending on your model, these aren't always cheap, but their options are out there now. We can do a conference and we can let people listen to it in whatever language they want. These solutions are there. And maybe these are people you want to partner with, right? So there's all sorts of, so money doesn't have to be, if you don't have the money, that's okay. Maybe you want to partner with somebody that would be able to provide that. Um, and why not share the rocking recordings after that? That's what Pero does. They share the recordings afterwards. Food. I mean, I got to go back to the food. I just love it when people send me, "Hey, I want to buy you lunch," and they go, "Well, how can you do that?" You'll see. Event kits, like they have the selfie sticks and they have all sorts of different things. Like, why not give them the handout? At every event that I've ever done in person where I've spoken and done the keynote, I always have something to for people to take away, so that it has my brand information on it. Down the road, somebody needs help, they'll go, "Oh, here you go. It's your branding. Why would you not?" So those event kits are pivotal. Giveaways, and staying connected with them. Don't just, it's like once the event's over, they like, really, you should be connecting with people every 3 months or so at the very bare minimum. I mean, even if they've said no. I mean, I love it when somebody says no. I mean, sales is expensive, and if somebody says no, I say, you know what, thank you. I just, being second's not so bad. Now, when I was first in business, I used to get so upset. They'd choose my competitor, and I knew they were some 18-year-old in the basement doing a website, because that's how I started my businesses, with websites. And I knew they made a bad decision. And then my coach said to me, "That's the best place to be, is number two." Because they're going to learn through that 18-year-old who doesn't have any, and then they're going to need your help. You stay in touch with that person. And sure enough, they'd come around. And it got me to develop a piece called Webmaster or Wannabe, so that I could educate people. As soon as I did the call with them and I pitched, I would then follow up with a one pager that said Webmaster or Wannabe, what you should, I'm sure you're looking at other providers. Here are some things you should look for. And of course, these 18-year-olds that were cheaper than me would not come up, because they were not doing what they should be doing. And that showed them. So it's all about the follow up. And all those questions, you didn't get to answer those questions. So, that's a great way. Look, it was a great webinar. And, I'm sorry we can't get to all the questions, but you know what? We will circle back, and we will, and you know what? If you'd like, I'll send you an email and I'll answer those questions for you. Um, Rehearse your moves, listen to the crowd. So, pay attention to the vibe, pay attention to the people. Rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. You can do, you do get better. My favorite thing is to change a presentation at the last minute, and then you're doing it and you go, "Oh, no, rehearse, rehearse, rehearse." So if you're presenting, I usually suggest you have your presentation ready, and then once a day you read through it. Just read through it once a day. And don't keep changing it, right? Because then it's new. So here's some tips. This one's pretty heavy, about listening to the crowd. And you will be able to see this, the presentation again to get all these, but these are great ways to be able to get their feedback, um, ask them the questions, track the engagement, ask them surveys, find out where they're coming from. Um, these are all different ways that you can do it. And I'm just watching my time, so I'm just trying to make sure I'm respectful of your time. Three, be the tech DJ. Now, be the tech DJ. Nobody likes the scratchy record or a buffering video. Keep the beats and chat flowing smoothly. So, your voice is really important. It's good to have water close by, and you want to have really good audio. Some people are very funny about audio. I'm not one of those people that has those ears, but some people can hear if you don't have earbuds in. you should have good audio. Make sure you have good audio. And that means if you're presenting professionally, you're going to want new buds, not those old ones that could have like little crackles in them. And it's really important. And if you get social on the dance floor, Twitter. I don't know. I think I probably should have edited that out because I'm actually getting off Twitter now. But anyways, that's my thing. And set up some cozy digital nooks for those heart to hearts. I like doing events in a program that's called Remo because I can afterwards people can kind of network. They can network beforehand, and they can also we have different seatings. Like breakout rooms are not breakout rooms per se. It's really visual, and people can kind of move around. They have autonomy. There's two seaters, so they can have private conversations, or there's bigger seats. I like that when we have panels because I like to set up a seating area for each speaker so that they can gather with those people that would traditionally line up in front of them to say, hey, I really liked your presentation, and to ask questions. But there's all sorts of different ways you can do it. And serve a content cocktail. It really comes down to the content. A splash of video, a twist of Q&A, and a cherry on top in the form of connection via networking. Content is king, but engagement is queen, and she rules the house. It really is all about engagement, before, during, and after. So, the putting together the whole experience, the whole journey of an event is really important. And this is just a quote by Beth Comstock that really resonates with me, not only just for social media content, but really event content. We're consuming content on a regular basis. And we all, it needs to be relevant content, and people want to connect. Like, I think the more connected we are digitally, the less connected we are as humans. So really, that's a really important lesson for all digital marketing, right? And I think my mom used to have an expression about the pendulum swinging both ways. Well, now the pendulum has swung all the way over here, and we're now all connected to everybody. And it's coming back now, and we're going to go into communities. You're going to be connecting less with people. Now is the time to build your community, and events are a great way to build your community. Okay. All right. And so how can you do that? Relevant and varied content. And there's all sorts of different ways to do that. And you want to plan it like a party pro. Like, you can do your own event. Ideally, if you have a budget, hire a professional to help you plan your event. They'll add insight to your event. They'll be able to help you leverage all the tools of the event program to do it. And use the insights to improve it. Take the Kaizen approach. Okay. So if you'd like 31 ways to engage your guests at an online event, it's actually, I think it's 123 ways. I'm going to have to correct that slide. There you go. You always have to have a mistake in your slides, I guess. All you have to do is reach out to me. And what I will do is you can either, you're welcome to book an appointment with me. There's the link there that you can use to book an appointment. Or you can scan this you can open up LinkedIn on your phone, and you can scan this QR code and connect to me on LinkedIn. And when you do that, and just so you know, you can when you open up LinkedIn on your phone, there's something there that a lot of people don't know, but it's my favorite tool. So when you open up LinkedIn on your phone, you will see that there is a QR code in the search bar that you might not have already mentioned. You might not have ever noticed. And when you click on that, the search bar. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. That might be just too close. You can't see it. Yeah, but on the right-hand side of that search bar, yeah, there you go. You see there's that little box? That's a QR code. And when you click on the QR code, you can actually you can scan it using that. as well. Now that is a really cool tool if you're ever networking. And as you're in person networking and you go to somebody, you can actually have that ready and they can scan that right there and you can connect with everybody really easily. So, anyways, really cool tool. Um, and that's it. So just basically reach out to me via either by LinkedIn and say I want the free handout, or you can go to my website and connect with me there. It should be pretty easy for you to connect with me there. Yeah, so let me open up the floor for questions, and I think we've got some time for questions. So. Um, I'm open. We've got a relatively small group, so feel free to just unmute and ask me your questions. First, tell me the type of events you're planning on. I'd love to know that, and then I can pour into you as much as I can. So, who would like to go first?
Anybody? Hmm.
First of all, if you're too shy to talk, in the chat, tell me what type of events you're thinking about running. I'd be interested in seeing that. Maybe I can add some more insight to it.
Okay, hi, so it's me, Alka.
Hi, Elka.
Hi. So, um, okay, just give me 1 second. I have too many things. I'm just moving to a quieter room because I'm at work.
Oh, no
Just give
worries.
me 1 minute.
Yeah, not a problem at
Too
all.
much going on here. Okay, so I am a dietitian, and I have what I do is I incorporate like art into teaching women how to lead better lives, in addition to nutrition and everything else. So my question to you is that how much should you niche down? Because I'm having a little bit of a hard time in that one.
Ah,
Like right now, the what I have is I'm targeting like in my messaging also I'll say for women over 40 who would like to incorporate art into their lifestyle to improve their quality of life, something on those lines.
ah. Well, I
So,
mean,
what do you think?
well, I think that makes sense. I think, I think that's really clear, and I would definitely repeat that in your online events. Um, and you can like so your purpose of events is that you get more clients. Is that what you're hoping to do?
Yeah, because my eventual goal is to start up a membership in the next few months,
Okay.
where like I do want to talk about like health, nutrition, and all that stuff, especially for women who are entering like like perimenopause, menopause, and then post-menopause, and like
Ah,
more to do with health, but using art as the main tool, let's say the major one, and other health things as like let's say on the back end, because of this is my experience, because it's a domino effect. Like when you start involving yourself in like art type of activities, it does have an effect on your mental health, and then that has an effect on like all the other things.
so it comes to mind for right now, at least for me, and it'd be interesting to hear feedback from everyone else here on the call. So I see art therapy for women 40 plus.
It's
And
not art therapy. Art therapy is very different
oh,
from
okay.
therapeutic art. Yes. So I am not an art therapist. So I am a therapeutic art educator. So what that really means is that so art therapists do very complicated stuff. Like they might be working with somebody who has like a multiple personality disorder. I don't do all that. I am just I just want women to, like, somebody, for example, you have in your mind that, oh, you know what, I want to do art, but I don't know where to start. And that's where it is. So it's more therapy. therapeutic style of art rather than art therapy. Art therapy is clinical. It's purely clinical. This is
Okay.
not clinical. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a couple different ways of looking at this then. Now I want to tie into the fact that you want to start a community.
Yes.
Um, so I would immediately like I would that would be my play. So that's what I want to close them on. That's the action item. At the end, if we look at the end result, what do we want to get? We want to get people to join that list, to join the community. And even if it's not ready now, we want them to get them to sign up. So
Right.
then you want to create, you're trying to create awareness about what you do. You're not trying to sell them
Right.
anything. You're just trying to, well, you are trying to sell them into to putting their name on a list to be notified when the community opens.
Mm-hmm.
So so you've got to look at it from their perspective. What are they looking for right now that they're going to see what you're offering, and then decide that that's something they want to try. So what is their pain points? Their pain points is maybe they're experiencing menopause, right? Like, is that
Mm-hmm.
like, or are you just doing that for targeting purposes? Because really, if you're
It may not even be menopause. It's just because over 40, and that is that is often where I get stuck because sometimes women over 40, even in the mid 50s, they have not hit menopause. So in my messaging, I'm not saying women who are in menopause. I'm not even using that word. I'm just saying women over 40. That's it.
so
I
But then,
wonder.
but then the
so maybe it's get your art on. Get your art on. With it's a group for women 40 and 40 plus, right? Get your art on, and then you just create an event, and really, you could do it on a budget with Zoom. Like you could do you
Yeah, no, I do have I'm having a little bit of a hard time on the messaging
Okay,
piece. Like
I
Chat
wonder.
GPT.
I
Sorry.
don't want to totally interrupt here, but I wonder if this could be the subject of a free consultation with Sue.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a lot of questions here, and I think you might really benefit from that if you can set something up. Um, I also
I'll
want
put
to
the
be,
link in there.
yeah, I also want to be sensitive to others who have questions. So, uh,
Sure, yeah, yeah, of course. I don't want to take everyone's time for sure.
Oh,
yeah,
sure. No, that's wonderful. I can probably, in fact, maybe one of the things I can do is I can do. Oh, sorry, I'm not sure why it didn't copy. Hold on, copy link.
oh, I have it in the chat for sure.
Yeah, I sent it to you only though by mistake. Let me look at the other questions, and yeah, by all means, Alka, I can kind of walk you through if you want to set up a consult with me. I'll walk you
Yeah,
through some tools you can use that can
okay.
get you the messaging, because that's really, if that's where you're stuck, that's an easy one with AI, and I can walk you through that. Um,
Oh,
okay,
trust me,
so
I'm using ChatGPT.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I can help you kind of get that set up to help you do what you need to do. And I'll share some
okay,
resources I've got from Grant Cardone's work
okay.
that will probably give you the fill in the blanks for you.
Sure.
Um, can I do an event on cleaning business? For sure. I think for cleaning, one of the most important things that people do, and really there's a guy that you should follow called I Love Marketing. Now the guy's got a crazy story. He was a drug addict. He had everything, got addicted to drugs, hit rock bottom, and rebuilt, starting a cleaning business. He is an amazing marketer. And what he did is he educated people, because when you go to buy something and somebody says, oh, well, you're looking for a cleaner, what do? You're looking for a cleaner, you're looking for a recommendation. When things are not equal, what do you look for? Well, that's important, because by default we automatically say how much. Like every person that calls you probably says how much. And really what he did is he put a sign on his truck. This was the big trick for him, that said 12 questions you should ask a cleaner before you hire them. And he gave a phone number. Now you could do that and just have that as an answering service. You could also have it as a URL. But you could also do educational things where you could be doing, you could talk about all the cleaning products. You could rate them, and then it's just a byline because people that like a clean house, who are they hiring? Who hires people that are cleaners? Well, lots of people do. Do you want deep cleans? No, because it's hard work and it's not repeat. You want C-level people that value cleaning. What else do they value? They value their health. So you want to talk, you want to tie into what, like, who are the people that need it the most urgently or that need it ongoing. You want ongoing, I think. And if you want ongoing, then it's all about delivering to them the education really quickly. So and it's similar to a caterer. They didn't want to give their recipes away. Give the freaking recipes away because people that want to cook will cook. People that hire caterers don't cook. They won't use your recipes. They won't give them away. So, you could talk about the Norwalks products and then maybe leverage that as something that you can also sell. You could talk about all the fake claims that are out there. You could talk about all the environmental issues with regards to carpet cleaning. You could, because you're very local, like, I don't know, I'm in Scarborough. So if I was you and I was in Scarborough, I'd be looking at all the different cleaning companies in Scarborough, and I would be saying, it's really important when you hire a cleaner, you ideally want to go word of mouth, but when you don't know that, how do? You check reviews, and you could actually show all the people. And then yours is fine. So it's just a case of leveraging what you do best there. So those are some ideas, and feel free to book one on one, and I'll go deeper with you. What's better platform for live events, LinkedIn or Instagram? Okay, it depends on the customer who you're going after. Instagram is younger crowd than Facebook, for example. Facebook is not working terrifically well right now. So for me, I usually say Instagram or LinkedIn. If you're going C-level, like senior leaders and stuff like that, every Fortune 500 company is on LinkedIn. So you're looking for the most affluent LinkedIn. Instagram, though, is, people are having huge success. I personally am not a LinkedIn. I should say I'm not an Instagram. I use Instagram, but but you can go live on Instagram, and some people are having great success. So where is who you're targeting? That's most important.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and yeah. So there's some ideas for you, and hope that helps. I think we're a little bit over, and I apologize, but
No, I think it's really good to have some questions and engage, so I'm really glad. I myself have about 10 questions, so apparently I need to
awesome.
make an appointment.
Well, if you have the time, I'm happy to
Yeah.
answer the questions now too. Like if
Yeah,
we,
because I run biz camps, and it attendance is an issue, evaluations are an issue, all the things. So I would really
ah,
love to talk to you about that,
well, let's,
and
yeah,
I will
let's
make an
book.
appointment.
Yes, please do. I would love to work with you, especially on given the audience that you're working that you're serving. I think
Yes.
that's awesome. I love that work.
Yes.
So, yeah,
Thank you
and
so much too for all of your wisdom today. My goodness, you are just a wealth of information.
oh, thank you. I
So
I
great.
love what I do. Olivia, just one question. Where are you based?
Me?
No, Olivia, because she said she cleans. I want to know.
Gatineau.
Oh, that's a
Gatineau.
far way away from me. Oh, that's a shame.
How far are
Okay,
you?
I'm in
Nobody is too far
Scarborough.
for me.
I'm in
Toronto.
Scarborough. So it's like at least a 3 hour drive. It's a shame. I have cleaners, but there's been some changes, so I'm kind of open. So anyways, it was a long shot, but I had to do it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, but
Again, thank you, Sue, so much for all
my
of your
pleasure.
wisdom and information. And I personally will can't wait to get my hands on the recording so I can take more careful notes. And
Awesome.
I hope that we can have you back at some point.
I would
And
love that. I
yeah,
would
because
I would
you have
actually
lots of things.
I, I'd love to do an Ask the Web Coach. I'd love to have a session on Ask the Web Coach, and I was actually thinking about launching that. So that's
Well,
something we
that
could.
would be good because, when I'm counseling, clients, many of, I shouldn't say many, but a significant number of business owners don't do that well. And they don't want to necessarily be monitoring their website every day or their Facebook every day or their so that would be a really good I think that would be very popular. So I'll pass that along to Lori for sure.
Yeah, maybe I should do one on Chat GPT, how to measure it if people are struggling with that too, because that's
Yeah,
really easy to do with the tools
especially
today.
now that it's I know it's not early for some people, but for my clients, it's early.
Yeah.
ChatGPT is early. So,
Yeah. Oh, well,
yeah.
most definitely. Well, I would love to chat about that, and I appreciate the opportunity. It was it's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to share what I've learned, and it's nice to meet everyone.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye
for
for
now.
now.